Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining in. We really appreciate it. We're glad that you came by. We're going to be trying to answer all of your questions today, and today the event is going to be how the governments will be helping pay off your mortgages. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I wanted to thank everyone for coming by. We've had a really good response this week. So today's subject, okay, is going to be how the government will help you pay off your mortgages and investments. So just want to make sure that the mic is okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Can somebody just write and say that the microphones are all good? I'd like just to hear you guys. Thank you very much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Can you just leave a comment and tell me if the microphone is okay? You guys hear me okay? I see the lights are doing well. Thank you guys for coming on. Today we're going to be doing a special, thank you very much, Patrick. You're saying that it's good. Really appreciate it. So today what we're going to be talking about is something that is a little bit crazy, right? Governments are going to be helping you pay off your mortgages. I mean, and it's absolutely mind-blowing that that could actually be a thing, right? So first of all, just so that you guys know who I am, my name is David Ruff. I am the team leader and broker for Ruff Team Realty. We operate downtown Toronto on Bay Street. So for you that are American, you know, they have Wall Street in the United States, and in Canada, we have Bay Street, which is the equivalent. It's the financial hub of Canada, and North America is a huge driving force in the world for economies. And so what we're going to be talking about today is this one subject, how the government is going to be helping you pay off your mortgages and your investments. Now, I hope that you guys have a little bit of time. I tried to put forward a little bit of a cheat sheet for you, take screenshots, but no, also, I'm going to be taking the whole presentation and putting it up on YouTube. You're going to be able to follow it later. And what I did today is a boiled down version of an extended version that we're going to put up on YouTube, because there is so much involved in it. Like, I've been studying economics for 15 years. I've read countless amount of books. And so I'm boiling it down for you in little bite-sized chunks just so that you guys can absorb it. So, yeah, David, what's called communism? I don't know who that guy is. But thank you guys for everyone joining in, and thank you for supporting us on this channel. We really appreciate this. We just started 2 months ago, actually mind-blowing for us, you know, 1.7 million views I think we've had across all of our channels so far in just 2 months. And thank you guys for all the likes and the follows. We really appreciate it. Just so that you know, Moyes was one of the guys who called us off of TikTok. He bought his first investment property, so we have a present for him. We got him his Roomba. So if you're ever interested in properties, you know, anywhere in the Greater Toronto area, give us a call. So we're going to give him that Roomba as a thank you very much for working with us. So let's get into the real reason why you guys are all here. This subject is a complicated subject, so I have to just do it in piece by piece. So please just go along with it, and you're going to understand why I said what we're going to do, okay? So let's start off today. Thank you guys. I see a whole bunch more people have joined in. So my name is David Ruff. I'm from Ruff Team Realty. We operate in the Greater Toronto area in Canada. But what I'm going to teach you is valid for Canada, for the United States, for Europe, for most of the economies of the world. This is going to be very, very good information, okay? So how the government will help you pay off your mortgages and investments. We kind of have to understand where this came from and what is the behaviors of the government right now. So can we agree that the governments are desperate to keep the economy going? Why are they desperate to keep the economy going? They don't want the party to end, right? And so how do we know that the government is desperate to keep it open? They're going to be going into negative interest rates. Negative interest rates. So what does a negative interest rate do? As you know, 80% of all the debt on earth is in negative territory now, besides Canada and the US. I mean, Canada and the US can't brag very much. We're 0.25%. We're barely positive. But the laws have already been enacted to allow for negative interest rates. That is most likely where the rates are going. They're going to be going down, which makes investment so much more attractive. But even besides that, it's the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years of recorded history. I hope you heard that. The lowest interest rates in 5,000 years. So, are you taking advantage of this low interest rate? Because if you were an investor mindset, you should be saying, if someone came to you and says, I will give you free money, how much do you want? The answer should be, I'll take as much as you can give me. And then they say, well, how long would you like to pay it back? The answer should be, I'd like to pay it as slow as possible. And that's what the governments want at the same time. So they're going to be offering you negative interest rates coming up very, very soon. The second thing, increased tax write-offs. So they're giving all kinds of businesses, at-home businesses, work-from-home credits, all kinds of stuff like that. Grants, loans, they're also giving forgiveness of these grants and loans. So they're doing this for all kinds of people. I mean, every month there's a new program, Canada, the States, different countries, they're giving away money and they're forgiving it. And they're also giving monthly benefits and one-time payments. Okay? All of this money being spit out there into the world. There is not one country in the first world countries that is not printing money. Can we all agree? We're all printing money. Here is the problem with what you guys might be doing. Most of the attention is on these small payments, but the real money is not what we're talking about. Everybody right now is so focused on getting their $600 one-time payment, their $2,000 one-time payment, their monthly increments that they're getting. I mean, everything on the news is always about these tiny payments, just giving you a carrot, a carrot, a carrot. That is not where the big money is. I need you to focus and think like a millionaire. Think like a billionaire. Think like the governments are thinking. Do you think that somebody who's worth $1 billion is caring about a one-time payment? Getting a $600 payment? He does not care about that. He wants the attention to be off of that and paying attention to where the real money is being made. Where is the real money? Okay, so think of it as governments and political systems, how they're set up. This is what I like to put up. This is history. In history, what happened if you had a king, a pharaoh of Egypt, a Caesar of Rome? What happened if you had a czar, dictators? How did you make money if you had a dictator, a czar, or something like that, some political system and money system? The only answer? Move away. Get the hell out of Dodge, right? We had to leave. That was the only answer. What kind of system do we have now? Capitalism. So most of you guys are familiar with capitalism, right? We also call, it came in the 17th century, right around the time that the Netherlands was very, very strong. We also call it the free market. And what is the free market dictated by? Supply and demand. Remember this, okay? This is very, very important for you guys to remember, is what is capitalism? It is free market, supply and demand. This all goes together and mixes all together. That's one system. But this is what we all know. So what is the examples? Food, housing costs. So let me give you some examples. What happens when we're in Florida? They're growing oranges like crazy. It is picking season. All the oranges come off the field. How much are oranges at that time? I mean, you could buy an orange for a couple cents, right? But what happens if you're in the middle of the non-growing season and we're having to bring oranges in from another part of the country? All of a sudden the price is higher. In Canada, we're very, very cold here. So we have to import a lot of our vegetables. And we know when growing season happens, all the fruits and vegetables are very cheap because they're very plentiful. They're everywhere. But what happens in the off season? All of a sudden, when the off season is here and we're having to bring them in from far away, we have to pay a lot more for those. Why? Capitalism, supply and demand. So when there's a lot of something, the price comes down. But what happens if you had millions of pounds of bananas and you needed to sell them quick? You'd be selling them for a penny a pound. But what happens if there's only a couple bananas left, right? Then I bet you someone's going to pay you $1,000 for those bananas. Supply and demand. Could we agree? So another example I like to give is the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, Do you know that it's one of the smallest countries, right? This big. This is where my wife is from. It has no land. And the population is about the same size as Canada, similar. But there's no land. So how much do you think a plot of land is in the Netherlands? It's crazy expensive. Why? Supply and demand. There's no supply. So it pushes the prices up. I think that we all understand the rules of supply and demand, right? So this is the same always. Capitalism means free market, keyword being free, and supply and demand. But remember, this also allows, free market allows for a company to make a lot of money and collapse. It's free market, man. Imagine that you were selling telephones that had to be wired into your house, and that company didn't want to change with the times, and he didn't want to adapt at all. What would that mean? That means he's going to go out of business. He's going to go bankrupt. He didn't change with the times, right? Now everyone uses cell phones, so he would have died, right? The company would be gone. So you have to change with the times, right? All right, so here's why I say that. We already know that there was kings and queens and pharaohs, and that system is gonzo. Then we had a system called capitalism. Kind of started in the 17th century, and you know who really perfected it was the United States of America, you know, the American dream. And what the American dream means, upward mobility. If I came from nothing, I was poor, I could start working somewhere, working 5 jobs and build a new life for myself. And maybe I can pull myself out of that terrible situation. So that's what we want, right? And that's what capitalism promised. And we have to also realize that this is what we all studied. Okay, I'm 42 years old. I studied this in school. I studied this in university, right? So I've read all the books on capitalism. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But we understand all of our schooling, if you're in my age bracket above, this is what we learned in school. But did you know that capitalism, as we knew it, as we studied it, is gone? We are no longer in an era of pure capitalism and free markets. Free markets allows for companies to die or go bankrupt. We're in a new era. It's a new government and political system called central planning. And maybe you guys have heard of some of these words. Money printing, currency devaluation, and some of you have heard this funny term in the news all the time, helicopter money. If you guys understand that, I see it in the comics sometimes, that is the best way to describe it, helicopter money. Imagine the government printing millions of dollars in paper money and flying over a city, and like they did to advertise movies way back when, decades ago, they would just throw them out the window and just hope that people will pick the money off the floor and use it to spend. So the government isn't actually throwing money out the window, but they're sending you checks to your bank accounts. To every citizen, they're sending out checks, stimulus money, free forgivable loans to companies. And where is all of this money coming from? They do not have a vault somewhere where it is sitting in cash. That's not sitting there in cash, right? They're creating it out of thin air, printing it. So this is what you guys have to get. Understand, we are no longer dealing with capitalism. It's an era of central planning. So this is central banks. So the Federal Reserve in the United States, the Bank of Canada in Canada, which is the central bank. So they are doing massive money printing. And they're devaluing the currency. Okay, so this is kind of deep, right? So when did this start and how can it make money for you? So all of you that are my age, you would remember this all started in 2008. So when we had the great financial crisis in Europe, it tumbled. It started in the United States and it spilled over. Canada, all over the world, right? We were teetering on a lot of trouble. So what would happen? They said it's too big to fail. Do you guys remember that word? Too big to fail. We could not allow free markets, which is the companies that will be allowed to rise and fall. We cannot allow them to fall. We have to prop them up with artificial money, creating money. How does that make you money? Remember what I said? I need you to think like a millionaire. Think like a billionaire. They do not care about the $500, the check that they're sending you. That means nothing. They want to make millions and billions of dollars off of this. When you are older and your kids have grown up and so forth, we're going to look back at this time and they're going to ask, wow, Dad, the biggest wealth building opportunity of all time, where were you? What were you doing? So I said this in my TikTok live. I said, if you're not afraid, you should be. You need to understand these things in order to be able to set yourself up to a better spot. So this is how I ended this, right? So how do you make money? Well, you guys, I brought a little whiteboard and I'm going to show you a couple things and I need you to kind of play along with me. So the last time I did this, I was in a room, thankfully, in person with 50 people. And then we've done this on Zoom with small groups of 10 to 15 people. But I have a little whiteboard and I need you to just follow me on this and you're going to let me know. Do we understand that if I have a friend and his name is Mike, and Mike makes $50,000 per year, he has a value. The bank now is going to look at this guy and say, well, if you make $50,000 a year, maybe I'm willing to lend you $500,000. There's a ratio based on your credit score. We all know that when you go get a mortgage, right? They're going to see how much money you have coming in and how much we can lend to you. But did you know that you can also do that for a company? A company may make $1 million per year, and the bank is going to look at them and see how much money they have coming in, but they're also going to say, well, maybe I'll lend you $5 million because you have $1 million coming in. It's the exact same thing, whether we're dealing with a person or a company. They have a revenue coming in and how much that they're willing to lend them. The last thing is, did you know, this is where most people don't know this, is that countries have a value. So to talk about Canada, just Canada, by the way, Canada has a GDP. Does everyone know what that means? So that means gross domestic product. A country is valued like a business. How much money did you make? So from a country perspective, they're looking at how many goods and services did you produce? So how many dishwashers and how many massages did the country have? Like, how much money did you produce? So when we look at this, a country now, a country has something called a GDP. So a country may make 1.7 trillion, I think is what it is for Canada. And obviously the United States is a lot higher. They're a lot bigger than us. But they'll say, here is your yearly income. And because of that yearly income, they're willing to lend you maybe $5 trillion. Did you know that a person and a company and a country are all the same thing? How much money are you making as a country and how much money can I lend you? Crazy, right? Now, first of all, did you guys know that? I think that's really cool. A country is no different than a person. I think that's cool. Leave a comment if you knew that, because when I learned that a long time ago, I couldn't even believe it. And so this is what we have to understand. So individuals, companies, and countries have a net worth. But what people usually are surprised at is the country. It is not, most people understand it for your personal mortgages. That's what we go through, right? But it's the countries. So Canada's worth 1.7 trillion. The United States is worth $21 trillion. So that's their annual GDP. But remember, the banks are willing to lend them more money. This is the value of the economy. So it's many years multiple, right? So if it was worth 1.7 trillion per year, but it's worth 33 trillion overall, they use the same numbers as they do for you personally on your mortgage. It's the same idea, right? So let's get into now how this is going to make you money. So we've now is going to make you money. So we've now realized poor connection. We were in a capitalist society and now we are no longer in a capitalist society. We are in a central planning, central bank planning. Central planning is what you guys have to realize, that we're in this new world. All right, let's look back at the board again. Here is where it really starts to get interesting, okay? All right, so now we take the board here. Let's give an example. I need an example from you guys. Okay, so let's see. We have let's use a country, and we're going to use maybe Canada. This is the example. This is Canada. This is my country. Sorry for the bad drawing. I'm not a drawer. Okay, so let's say that Canada right now, let's use a number, or I need an easy number, is worth 4 trillion. Let's just say 4T, okay? Does that work? $4 trillion. Did you know that everything is tied to money supply? How much cash is there in the market? So what happens if you had 4 trillion currency dollar? Is that correct? So $4 trillion economy, 4 trillion pieces of paper or currency units, each is worth $1. I think you guys can all follow that, right? What happens if overnight, the next day, the government decides to print more pieces of paper? So instead of having 4 trillion pieces of paper, now they have 8 trillion pieces of paper. Or we can call them currency units. Did the value of the country change at all? The country is still worth $4 trillion. It has never changed. The difference overnight is that I had 4 trillion pieces of paper before, and now I have 8 trillion. So now the purchasing power, if before I could buy, say, a pint of milk for $1, now I would need, if it's doubled the money supply, I would now need $2 in this new world here to buy the same piece of milk. Because the value of the country has not changed, only the amounts of pieces of paper have changed. So if today it was $1 for the milk, 4 trillion pieces of paper to 4 trillion, and tomorrow they made it 8 trillion, where they doubled it, everything would have to double. Does that make any sense? So if we doubled the amount of paper that is out there, the price of everything has to double. Supply and demand. It's as simple as that. So if the government went from having 4 million pieces of paper to 8 million pieces of paper, that means the price of milk would double, the price of a car would double, the price of a house would double. And guess what other word that's called? Inflation. We've all heard that word before. So the inflation is tied directly to money supply. How many paper units are there out there against the value of the country? So if we have $4 trillion worth of a country, and then we doubled how much paper, we now have to pay double for everything. For everything. Now, I hope that everyone understands that. So this is called central planning. This is my last note. You could take a screenshot if you want. Do you see here it says, we can't beat the tide. We can't beat the tide. If you wanted to stop the tide coming in, you wouldn't be able to do it with all the machinery on Earth. The governments have already decided what they're going to do, and they're printing money like crazy. The governments can only create money 2 ways: by printing it or by taxing, high taxes. Can you name me a government on Earth that has raised the taxes? I haven't seen any places that have raised the taxes. Everybody is printing money. So if we want to win in this new world order that we're at, we have to change our tactics. You guys in your later 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you guys who learned the capitalist society before, things are different now. We're in a new age. You need new tactics. So let's get into the exciting stuff, okay? Let's get into how does this make you some Serious cash. But you guys have to understand this before I get into my examples. If you don't understand this, I mean, what I just showed you, you're not going to understand what I'm going to show you in the next slide. So there is only really 3 options for you. What are your options? It's to sit in cash. So let's write it out, okay? We can sit in cash. We can sit in assets. Or we can have debt. 3 options. If you guys have any other options, I'd love to hear them, but I don't think there is any other options. So let's play some math games, okay? I have 1 million in cash. I have 1 million in, let's call it a house. And just to be easy, okay? Let's say that I have a house here with 1 million in debt. All debt. Sitting 1 million cash, sitting on a $1 million house that I own 100%, or sitting in a house that is $1 million of pure debt. That's crazy, okay. So this is today, right? We were talking about what happens if tomorrow the government doubled the money supply. So if you guys know, there's something called hyperbole. So a hyperbole is a deliberate exaggeration to try to prove a point. So I'm going to do a doubling just for ease, and then we're going to come back to why, okay? So the government is not going to double the currency overnight. That's not going to happen. But I just want you to see this so that you can understand how it works. Okay? So the very, very first one, you're going to sit in cash. Just let me fix the microphone. The cash. They double the money supply the next day. How much money do you still have in your bank account? So this is the old day. The next day they double. Okay? So your $1 million now is still worth 1 million, but remember, because they doubled the money supply, you have half the purchasing power. So if this day you could have bought $1 million house cash, that $1 million house is now worth 2 million the next day. But you only have 1 million in the bank. You would have lost $500,000 or 500,000 currency units. You would be down 50%. That's inflation, guys. Sitting in cash, the inflation will destroy what you own. Let's do assets. You own a $1 million home. You have 0 mortgage. Nothing. Here you had a $1 million home. The next day, they double it. What is the home worth? It went from a $1 million home, double. Now it's worth a $2 million home. You are at 0. So isn't that a lot better than losing 50% of your purchasing value? Now you had a $1 million house. The next day they double how much currency is available, and now you're worth $2 million house, but the cost of everything is doubled too. I mean, so you can't be celebrating that the house has gone to 2 million. You didn't make $1 million, because now milk, gas, everything else, going to school, doesn't really matter. Clothes has all doubled in price as well. So you haven't made any money, even though the number attached to the price of the home is the same. So you've stayed exactly where you are, which is good because we haven't lost any money, right? Remember what I said though before? Think like millionaires and billionaires. Here we had a house with $1 million of debt, pure debt. I didn't own anything. I know that's not possible. Let's just play with the numbers though, okay? So $1 million in debt, what happens? The house, like this example, goes to 2 million in debt. I mean, in value. That's the sticker price now in the home. How much is your debt? $1 million in debt. What happened here? You just made 1 million currency units. You now have a $2 million home with a $1 million mortgage. And the government, by printing that money, has paid off half of your mortgage for you. Are you guys following this? This is the most important part. I'm not selling any books. I'm not selling any courses. This is just for me to try to help you guys. The majority of the people that follow me on my channel are not even in Toronto. If you're in Toronto, I can help you. But, you know, I have other affiliates in other places of Canada, but a lot of our followers are from Ukraine, from Japan. We've had people from England, Ireland, Scotland, all over the United States. This doesn't matter where you're from. This is the same thing. The governments are not going to stop printing money. And if you understand how money works, I call it money mechanics. If you understand how this works, you're going to change your life. This is the same all over Canada. This is the same in the United States. This, look at the difference. I went from losing half of everything I own. So who's in trouble here? Savers? You're in big trouble. Big, big trouble. Fixed income. You're in trouble. If you're a saver, you're a fixed income, you're in big, big trouble, and I'm fearful for you, and I want you to get out of this. I'm really scared for you. If you're in assets, so what is an asset, you guys? What is an asset? An asset can be stocks, gold, crypto, can mean anything. But guess what? Nobody will lend you money based on the amount of crypto you have in your bank account. It's very hard to get a loan if you just have a bunch of gold bars sitting in your home. No, so normally you have to buy the entire item, the whole stock. You have to pay up front for it. You have to pay for all of the gold before you get it. Housing is really the only place that you can leverage yourself and get that debt, other people's money, by getting that on your property. So what happens when you do that? When you get into the debt world, that's where you make your money. But this is what's crazy, you guys. This right here, where they're printing money, has never happened in history. Are you hearing me? This has never happened in history. Ever. For all of time, debt was considered a liability. Debt was evil, right? So debt was always a liability. A liability. Always. But this is capitalist. Debt was a liability in capitalist. But remember what we were saying. We are no longer in a capitalist society. We are in a central planning, central bank. And in a central planning environment, debt is an asset. And why is debt an asset? Because the government is helping you pay off your loans with the depreciating of the cash. This is the most important part for you to pay attention to change your life. I really hope the majority of people that watch this are not going to do anything about it. I realize that. I preach about financial literacy, financial education all the time. And frankly, if I have one person that is going to save themselves, I'm happy. I want you guys to be okay. If you are sitting in cash in the bank, you had $1 million and we double the money supply, you would instantly go down to only $500,000 of purchasing power. Your purchasing power is cut in half. You lose money. If you own an asset, and it's 100% owned, and I don't care what the asset is, a house, crypto, gold, stocks, if the home doubles in value, then what you own is doubling in value. You're at a net zero. Okay? You didn't lose anything. You protected your money. That's amazing, okay? Just do that at least. Just don't sit in cash. Don't sit in cash. And if you're on a fixed income, find other ways to try to invest in some places, but you have to invest smart. The last one, assets. If you have $1 million home with $1 million mortgage, I now mean sitting all in debt. When the house price doubles, guess what happens to your mortgage? Your mortgage stays the same. Think like a billionaire. Think like millionaires. Who cares about your $600 check? That's not where the money is. The governments will be paying off your houses for you and paying off your investments for you. That's insane. Okay, so now let's talk about that. Other people. Okay, David, right. You said that half of the money, if we doubled the amount, right? If you double the currency supply, I don't think they're going to double the money supply, right? That quick. Really? So this year, I mean, since Corona started, March 2020, of all the US dollars in history ever created, 25% of them were created this past year. In Canada, 20% of all the money ever created in history was created in the last year. Do you think that it's a coincidence that they have printed 20% more money? Okay, what did we learn? If you print 20% more money, that means the price of everything has to go up 20%. So has groceries gone up? Hell yeah, they have. Has the houses prices gone up? Wow, isn't it a coincidence that across Canada, it's gone up like 20% in value in the past year? Some areas are way more than that, 25, 30%. I mean, the Muskokas and the Kawarthas are up 44%. You don't think that there's something happening there? You don't think it's a coincidence? You guys, this information is out there, and I want you to win, okay? I don't want you to get blindsided by this. This is happening at a lightning speed. This has happened in 1 year. 25% of all the money ever created was created in the past year. So that's why prices are skyrocketing. If you're in the United States and you're one of our followers, I want you to go to this site. It's the US debt clock. So if you could see the US debt clock right here is at 27 million. A year ago, these guys were sitting at 20 trillion, not 27 trillion. But here's the really funny part. Go to this side, okay? Over here. And it says time machine. Time machine, okay? And it lets you go out 4 years to 2025. Look what it says it will be in 2025 at current projections, and this does not even include the CARES Act. 49 trillion. 49 trillion. They're going to be doubling in 4 years. And you think that's crazy? We just mentioned that it's up 25, 30% in 1 year. You can also go to the Canadian version of that and our total debt clock. Our debt has skyrocketed. So think like a billionaire. Think like a millionaire. I don't care about the $600 payment. I mean, if you guys need food, I'm obviously saying to take it. If there's any government programs that are out there, any more tax write-offs available to you, take it while you can. But what you do with that money, don't buy fancy clothes, don't go buy a new Xbox, Don't use it to invest and protect yourself in the future. That is what I want for you. So remember what we were looking at on the board. You have only 3 choices of what to do with your money, and please make the right choice. Number 1 is sitting in cash. Fixed income people. That's your W-2 workers in the States, T4 workers in Canada. You're going to be in trouble. As the prices of things skyrocket, including housing, lumber, food, gas, as it skyrockets, and you're already seeing the prices go up, your wage will not. So you need to have multiple streams of income, and you need to figure out places to invest. If you own your units 100%, you own your houses 100%, you're sitting in assets like stock and crypto and other stuff like that, bullion, you will preserve your money. You will preserve your money dollars in the future. Much, much cheaper dollars in the future. So the only way you're going to do it is if you're sitting in assets with some debt. This is life-changing. You would be able to buy homes for all of your kids. Now, listen, I know you guys are thinking about all this and going, oh, blah, blah, you know, I've heard this stuff before. But listen, I'm not selling any books. I'm not selling any courses. This information for you is good no matter where you go. And you can only sit in cash or sit in assets or sit in assets with debt. That's all you can do. When we talk about the capitalist society that we used to have, the political and economic system in the 1700s, 1800s, like right until recently into the 70s, the capitalist system was one way, and it's what we were all taught. But it changed during the great financial crisis after 2008. You've heard the terms quantitative easing, money printing. That's no longer a free market. A free market means we're allowing companies to try to make profit. We're allowing them to collapse and go bankrupt if they had to. Even for people. People might go bankrupt, but the governments now are forcing companies to stay open. Forcing people to be okay. They're feeding them money. So the governments are unable to ever pay this money back. How does a country pay it back? They have to print the money. And if you want to see anything, this is not me that's saying this. Every economist on earth, every book that you're going to read, it's all what happens when you print money. Go look at most of the African nations. Look at Italy before it joined the euro. Look at Venezuela right now. Look at Argentina right now. What happens when you print that money? What I'm telling you is not new news, but it's news that nobody knows. You would be shocked how many people I talk to all the time, and people don't know this. I'm not saying to do something that has never been done before. I'm saying look around you. The world is speaking to you. In fact, they're screaming at you. And I hope that you're listening, because I don't want you guys to get damaged and to get hurt. I want you to stick around. So up to the point where we understand as economists, as everyone in the world, that the world order of the capitalism that they used to have is gone. We now live in a world of central planning, and that's not new. That's since 2008. But 2008 to 14 was like this, right? But then when Corona hit, it went parabolic. It went straight up like a rocket ship. So we're speeding up that process. And this is where millionaires and billionaires will be made even richer, and the poor and middle class will get destroyed. So please don't just take my word for it. Go read about it. Look at the debt clocks. Read information on what happens when you print this much currency. So you're going to have 2 choices: is either get demolished to preserve your money, or to invest it with some debt. Now that is where the takeoff. No one argues up to that point. There's no economist that will argue any of the points that we've talked about up to this point. Now comes the opinion piece. If, David, you're telling me that I should invest and invest somewhere where I can have debt attached to it, what should I invest in? That's up to you. Up to this point, we can't argue any of the facts. The facts are the facts. But now what should you invest in? I hear people yelling and saying I should invest in crypto and bullion and stocks and Tesla and shorts and calls in all kinds of different housing in different states and provinces. First of all, I have to tell you that I am a real estate broker. I work in Toronto, and I work specifically in the Greater Toronto area. I do have properties other places. Of course, I have a portfolio, but I am not a financial advisor, so I can't guide you and tell you what you should be doing as your fiduciary in a financial advisor capacity. I could always talk to you about what I do as your capacity. I could always talk to you about what I do realty. You can always reach out to us at roughteamrealty.com on our website. You can email us at contact@roughteamrealty.com. That's fine if you're in the Greater Toronto area, but if you're outside, which is the majority of you followers that are in Europe and the States and other parts of Canada, please take this and do something with it. In my opinion, I think it would be very smart for you to have a balanced portfolio. I can tell you what I do. I always have 1% in crypto. I always have 10 to 15% in gold and silver. And, you know, that's a hedge. So what is a hedge? A hedge is not to lose money. That's like buying a home and owning the home 100%. I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to lose money. But in the new era of central planning, you want something that has debt attached to it. The inflation will erode your debt to nothing. So if I was looking for properties now, I would be looking for real estate properties that make the most money that you possibly can, obviously. And you want your mortgage, do not take a 15-year mortgage. You want to push that as far into the future as possible. If you could take a 35-year mortgage, I know in the States they have 40-year mortgages. You push that as far as you can into the future. Kick it down the road and focus on buying good deals, because that's where you're going to be making your money, as the debt is paid off by the government by printing that money. I think that should help you guys out a lot. I mean, this is mind-blowing stuff. I've read probably about 75 books on the topic. I've studied it in school. It's fascinating to me, but I'm trying to boil it down for you. Guys, I know that there has been a lot of comments up to this point, and thank you very much. I'm seeing them fire by on the bottom. I haven't been able to get to them like I normally do, like you guys expect me to normally. I really wanted to get through this presentation. The most important part of it was the difference between when we drew those 3 houses, you know, sitting in cash, sitting in your home where it's 100% owned, and then sitting in a home that has debt on it. That's the most important part. I hope you took a screenshot of it. If not, we're going to be loading it onto Facebook, and I'm going to be putting an extended version of this in the coming week so that we can get more into depth with it if it's something that you would like. What I am curious about for you guys is if you do have any questions on this, I'm going to start watching it right now, and I'm going to look at this. So Addie Koopa, you're saying, is this recorded and can we review it again? Yes, it's going to be recorded. I'm going to be uploading the entire TikTok live to our channel on YouTube at Rough Team Realty, same name. So go to that channel and we're going to be uploading it there so that you can still get it. It's the most important part. All of this stuff is in the news. Everybody's paying attention to the appetizer, that tiny little morsel at the front. Oh, we're going to give you a one-time payment. Oh, negative interest rate, something. This, what we're talking about, is where you're going to decipher everything. This, what I'm telling you right now, how the governments are going to be helping you pay off your investments, that is the most life-changing part. So I'm going to try to get to your questions as of right now. You're asking what other sources of income would I suggest? So I think that you should be looking into yourself. What are you good at? Open up a YouTube channel, start selling on Etsy, do affiliate marketing, get another source of income coming in, and hopefully as least hands-off as possible. That's what I would be doing to try to get extra income. Get a side job going on the side where you're not depending on an employer. Open up something for you. Maybe you like knitting and start that off. Start a side business, because the side businesses have huge tax write-off capabilities. That's what I would be doing. Andrew, yes, I'm going to be posting it to YouTube. This is for Sudbury. Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, I've been to Sudbury many times. That's what I would suggest for other sources of income. Will the market crash anytime soon? No idea, you guys. Now, this is important, actually. I'm glad that you brought that up. That's a good question. But what happens if the market crashes? Okay, this is very, very good. I'm really happy you brought that up. In all of history, people are afraid when housing market is going up and up and up and up. They say to me, well, David, I don't want to pay this price and then have the market crash below and I lost money. Everybody, I have never had a purchaser in my life, and whether we're dealing with $50 million commercial properties or $500,000 property, people are like, well, it can't go any higher. It can't go any higher. And they are afraid that it's going to drop. That right there, guys, is capitalism. Capitalism. That is what we were taught in the old days. That fear is the fear attached to communism, right? Which is not communism, capitalism. Supply and demand. This is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Remember what we said? We are no longer in a capitalist society. So you're going to ask me, does the prices go up or down? Well, guess what? How can it be both? How can it be both? If you have a house here worth $1 million, the house may have been going up and the house is worth $2 million now. Well, and why? Money printing, right? Or they call it central planning. Helicopter money. So the dollars have gone from $1 million to $2 million. But if the government doubled how much money they created, guess what? You didn't make any money. The cost of everything else has gone under. So now that we are in a new world of central planning, a new world of money, it means that by far, you guys, this is important for you to know, right? So when people are asking me, will the market crash soon? Well, what do you mean? Because the market could crash. So when people are asking me, will the market crash soon? Well, what do you mean? Because the market could crash and your house could go from $1 million to $2 million. So how did the market go down when the sticker price goes up? And this is what people have trouble understanding, is we're just looking at the house right now is worth 1 million currency units. What does that mean? What matters isn't how many currency units there are. What matters is what it can buy you. That's what matters. Purchasing power. That's what matters. Not the sticker value on your home. So again, that idea of, well, will the market crash? That is capitalist thinking. That's old school thinking. That's different than central planning. So we're in a different world now. We need different tactics. So I wouldn't be as afraid of always losing at the top. That's a different world. Oh, thank you guys for all your questions. I really want to get to all your questions here. This is for Fountain Faith. You said you hope you didn't miss anything. You're going to watch it on YouTube. Yeah, I hope so. I'm going to upload it to you guys, and you could watch it there. Thank you very much for all your comments. I want to stay on, and I want to answer all of them. Andrew, and this is to Fountain Faith. You said, yeah, you missed a lot of good content. Yeah, you can watch it later. Yes, thank you for telling her, Andrew. Appreciate this. Time in the market is greater than timing the market. Absolutely. Fed winner. Who is this guy? I love this guy. So how long you're in the market is more important than trying to time it on the exact day when it's at its peak, when it's at its low. One of the best investors in history, Warren Buffett, says there's no way that you can time the market. You have no clue. There is no investor on earth can time the market. So if the experts, with hundreds of experts out there, cannot figure it out, how can you and I ever figure that out without having hundreds of people? And even then, we wouldn't know. So you're not going to time the market, but understanding money mechanics will really, really help you. This is for Lex. You said you want to start a pressure washer business? Hell yeah. Love that. I hope you do. I mean, I've seen a lot of them popping up. They're great. Most people don't want to do them. You can make really good money at it. That's what I'm talking about, opening a side hustle. Then you get an extra revenue stream and you get the tax deductions. I love it. Good for you, buddy. I hope it. Who's this? I seem like I've been struggling financially. Yeah, we always have people who come on here who are haters. Listen, guys, this is not my information. I've read a million books on this stuff. So go read about it, you know? Adi Coupe, because more money is in our economy, 20% more. Yeah, so it's a direct relationship. If the government creates 20% more money, that means inflation will be 20% more in everything. If the government prints 50% more, that means that inflation is going to be 50% more in everything. Gold is not valuable because it's gold. Gold is valuable because it's rare and there's hardly any of it. So people are willing to pay really high prices for it because it's rare. Oh, what's another item that's really cheap? Bread. Bread is $1. So like, it's so easy to make. It's so plentiful. That's why it's so cheap. So things are valuable because they're so rare. So I hope that you guys are able to follow me on the YouTube channel later and catch up to that. I'm just seeing this. Why prices are up when immigration is down right now? So Addy, remember, direct relationship. If you print more money, there's a direct relationship between the inflation. Inflation is going to skyrocket. And the skyrocketing inflation has two choices. It's going to kill you if you're a saver or a fixed T4 or W-2 worker. It's going to wipe you out. If you just go to a job, you punch in, punch out, get your paycheck, the government already takes your taxes off your paycheck, you're going to be in trouble. This guy Lex here, who said he wanted to open up a pressure washer business, that's thinking, man. Open up a business, start investing in yourself, reading books, understand money mechanics and how it works. Cheapest down payment in Toronto. This is for Dom Joe. Yeah, I'm in Toronto, you guys. So my name is David Ruff. I'm from Ruff Team Realty. I'm the broker. We work on Bay Street, downtown Toronto. But my team services the Greater Toronto area, Hamilton, Barrie, all over the place. But the cheapest down payment for an area here would be about $20,000. Really depends. You need to have good credit. You have to have a good mortgage broker, and it's going to depend on what kind of unit you have. But there's some units right now that are up 30, 44% was the greatest one I told you about, Kawartha Lakes and up in Muskoka. But there are properties in Toronto that are down 20%. I've even seen 25% discount. So those are the homes that you want to look for. Those of you who follow me all the time know what I'm talking about. $20,000. What is your number one source of passive income right now that I use? I have multiple streams of income, but I think my favorite one is having my business. Opening a business, the tax write-offs. So if you guys can open up a business, that business is going to continue to make you money, and you have to get into rental properties, and I would have a race. Those of you who follow me know that we always talk about 10 doors. It's a race. So if you guys can open up a business, that business is going to continue to make you money, and you have to get into rental properties, and I would have a race. Those of you who follow me know that we always talk about 10 doors. It's a race to 10 doors. You got to get to 10. 10 is where you're really going to start taking off. But you can get your first one for $20,000 down. Where do I get financing for a rental property? Talk to your bank or talk to a really good mortgage broker. You know, I have 3 mortgage brokers that work for me. We have over 30 something mortgage lenders. And so you need to talk to a good one. You don't have time to go to 36 banks, especially in Corona. So don't bother going to all 37. Get this one guy to go do one application, and he's going to play these banks off of each other to get you the best rate. So get your rate from your bank. Secondly, go get a mortgage broker to try to match it. What's the worst case scenario? They get you the same rate and you have a second opinion. If they can beat it, great, you save tens of thousands of dollars, so do that. Like I always say, guys, this is not the feelings business, this is the money business, and we're here to look after you. Remember, a realtor like myself, if you're using us to try and buy properties, we're free. We're absolutely free. There's no obligation. All of my guys are trained in the exact same stuff. We are completely free. There's no obligation to buy. The mortgage brokers are completely free. No obligation to use them. I mean, I don't understand why more people don't use them. But whenever you're going to be thinking about buying properties, make sure you interview a lot of different agents. Don't interview just one. Don't open the phone book and use that one. Don't call the local Remax store and pick your first one. Interview a whole bunch of them. It's free to interview them. And pick the one who's the most knowledgeable in that subject. I mean, in Toronto, the majority of real estate agents have been in the business for less than 3 years. It's over 90% fail within the first 3 years. So interview a lot of people. Make sure they're in a team or they have a good broker or somebody who knows what they're doing. So get good financial advice, and you're going to get that from a good mortgage broker. Any advice for a 17-year-old for a future based on post-COVID? Good idea, buddy. Okay, 2 things for a 17-year-old. Go get all the books. I just did a video on that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Money, Master the Game, Millionaire Real Estate Investor, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. This is all good. I had another video on it just this week. So go look that up for those books. Read those books. Number 2, go get a credit card based on your parents' credit card, like a secondary card. You can get that. Make sure it has a low limit and start using it, but pay it off every single month. Am I getting through to you? Pay it off 100%. 100%. Because when you turn 18, you now have credit. You automatically have credit where all the other 18-year-olds have 0. Credit is what's going to make you money, buddy. Debt and credit is going to make you a lot of money. Is it good to buy rental properties right now? Yes. Remember what we were saying? We're now no longer in a capitalist society. We're in a central banking political climate now. And so we need new tactics, and it's a great time to do it because we're just, remember I said 2020, we just started shooting like a skyrocket how much money printing is happening, and this isn't stopping anytime soon. So it's a great time. Like we're buying properties all the time. Remember I was just talking about Moise there? He just got one and we got him a Roomba just to say thank you. We want to treat our clients really, really well, right? So, oh boy, there was a question here about a rental home. Let's see. It was something about a townhouse. Oh, here we go. Would I say buying attached versus townhome will have similar results in the long term? I really don't know where you are. This is a 22 ABC. I really don't know where you are. But if you're in an area like, say, a B city, like suburbs or something, maybe in Texas or something like that, you know, and you can afford a home at $250,000 or less, you know, then I would say buy a detached home. If you were in a city like Toronto where homes could be millions of dollars, a townhouse is very affordable. And so if we have all the homes stacked up, a $500,000 home, $1 million home, a $2 million home, if the market goes up 10%, it doesn't go up 10% for everybody. The $2 million home might actually even go down. The $1 million home might go to 1.2, but the $500,000 home might go up to 700,000. So affordability brings in a big factor into it. So you have to buy smart depending on the area that you're in. So if you were in Toronto, 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 yeah, because they're going to be way more affordable and you won't be able to afford it. 22 ABC. 22 ABC, okay? So that's, you reach out to us at contact@ruffteamrealty.com and I'll get to you, okay? So I hope that this was helpful, you guys. We had a lot of people join in. We've had between 1,000 and 3,000 people per live. I really tried to boil down my 75 books into one lesson. I hope that you took something away from it, and I want you to take this and make some serious money from it wherever you think that you are. Okay, a couple other questions. London, Ontario housing prices are sky high. I totally agree with you. London is up like 27% this year, but guess what? It's not going anywhere. It's going to continue skyrocketing. So pay attention. The money printing, remember, if you believe the market is going to go down in housing, you also have to believe that the government is going to stop giving any checks to anybody, stop giving checks to companies, and are going to raise the taxes. If you bet that housing will go down, you have to be betting on the government not paying any other money. Zero. Direct relationship. If you believe that the government is going to continue to print money like every other government on earth, then you should be getting into something, a leverage type of debt where you can have a property and have the debt and have the government pay off the debt for you. Very, very, very important, you guys. Do I think XRP will win the lawsuit? And would you prefer XRP more than Bitcoin? Guys, that's crypto, so you know that I can't tell you. I'm not a financial advisor. I can tell you that personally, I own both. I own Ripple and I own Bitcoin. I've owned it since 2012. I started buying then. But remember what I say, 1% of your portfolio should be in crypto. This is not a massive investment. It's a hedge. If it happens, right? Why will the government stop printing money? Are they making money? Yes, they're printing money at absolute crazy rates. You know, Canada has almost doubled our national debt in 1 year. Absolutely crazy. United States are printing at astronomical prices. It's crazy. 22 ABC, you're saying that you're living in Metro Vancouver. I think you were the one mentioning to me, should you buy a townhouse? If you were in Metro Vancouver, yes, townhouses are a good idea. If I had a choice in Metro Vancouver to go and buy 3 townhouses or 1 detached, I would unequivocally say to buy the 3 detached. Why? Because what I just told you before, $500,000 townhouse, $1 million detached, $2 million big house. They don't all appreciate at the same rate. The appreciation also goes on affordability. So I would be buying 3 towns instead of buying that 1 massive unit. Absolutely. It's the exact same as Montreal, which is another big city in Canada, or Toronto, where I'm from. You know, we're small compared to the United States, but we're still like that are here. You guys, yeah, do you guys still hear me? I have a note here that says that I'm muted. I hope that you could still hear me. It's coming in. Just let me know if you could still hear me. Somebody wrote that you can't hear me. I hope you can. This is for Lori. You said that you feel that you missed out on some great information. Lori, it's not going to be too late. Just to let you know, we're going to be taking this and uploading it completely into the YouTube. You're going to be able to watch it again on YouTube, and I'm going to be making a longer term one on this one, okay? They're really good questions, right? Why is a London property tax more than Toronto? Do you guys know that answer? Do you know why? Is because roads and infrastructure. In a building, when you have 2,000 people living in a building, you only have a couple hundred meters of road because roads and infrastructure. In a building, when you have 2,000 people living in a building, you only have a couple hundred meters of road. Building, you only have a couple hundred meters of road. Building, you only have a couple hundred meters of road. Thunder Bay, where the city is mostly houses and spread out, you don't have a high population density, and you have a lot of roads to maintain, a lot of sidewalks, a lot of water pipes, and that pushes taxes way up. So the most tax efficient way for you to invest, depending on a lot of factors, is to be investing in a city where you have higher density of people, because it's more people to divide the cost around. Environmentally speaking, living in a city is way more efficient than living outside, because you live in very small cramped quarters and you don't have to have a big carbon footprint to put a lot of roads, a lot of piping and so forth. Andrew, you're asking, is inflation the reason why gas prices are high now? It's going to be the reason why everything is high. And inflation just means money printing. It's the same word, right? It's the same thing. It does the exact same thing. Hope that helps you. Why property taxes are more in that. Every house is selling for $100,000 over asking. This is for Nick Guy. Are they? Are they selling for $100,000 over? Or are people actually listing all of their properties for $100,000 less than what they're worth? Because that's actually what's happening. So when a property is worth $900,000, the sellers are going to put it on the market for $799, trying to drive hundreds of people to that property to get them to bid on it like crazy through an auction. In Canada, we call it an offer date, to get the price up. But what I can tell you is that when you look at for sale prices versus after, you're like, oh my God, everything's going for above value. But that's what general people who are not investors in the market are looking for. Because for me as an investor and me as a realtor, when I look at the homes with their sold data, that's the important number. They're selling for what they're worth. People are not spending $100,000 more on a piece of property than what it's worth. And so that's where having a really good real estate agent will help you, because he's going to teach you how to price properties. When you work with us, we sit down for a 1-hour seminar teaching you how to price properties. That is your number one skill on how to make money. How to price properties, so that you as a consumer can look at that property, tear through the information, and know exactly how much it's going to be worth. Because when you do that exercise, you're going to realize that they're not selling for $100,000 over what they're worth. The asking price is window dressing. That's all it is. This is an advertisement. How many times did you drive by new builds where they're building a new thing and they're saying houses coming up for the low 300s? And you get there and you're like, well, yeah, I need a bathroom and a kitchen. And they're like, well, now it's $800,000. So that's how it works. This is for Thomas, says you're 22. I love it. I'm glad that you're starting off at this age, man. This is to eat me. You're saying you're trying to buy a house in London. Yeah, we just bought a house in London about a couple weeks ago. Great deal, great returns. Yeah, like London, I think it's up 27% in the past year, and the year over year after, if we're talking about cash on cash, after taxes and property maintenance and condo fees, was still pulling at 5%. So incredible returns, incredible returns. London is great. London is in the top 5 cities outside of Toronto to be investing in Ontario. So yeah, if you ever want any help with that, give us a call, roughteamrealty.com, or contact at roughteamrealty. Email us there and we'll get back to you. Lori, like I said, we're going to be putting this up on YouTube for you. How do you get to start a small business? This is for Thomas. Thomas, I don't care what you start. Number one thing is look for revenue. Don't get caught up in reading the books and how you're going to set up with an accountant and all this other stuff. The hardest part is to get going. So the number one thing is choose what you're going to do. Then start advertising like crazy and start doing it. Start having that money coming in. As soon as that money is going to come in, then you're going to get an accountant to help you. And then you have to be focusing on how to structure your business, but that's later. Focus on revenue, getting the money going. Remember, if you're a sole proprietor, if you're like that guy before who was pressure washing, you can now take that company and turn it into a company after you're working for yourself. The taxes are easy if you're a sole proprietor. It's the same. It's nothing. So just start advertising whatever you want. If it's going to be raking leaves, if it's going to be working on cars, if you're going to do delivery, just start right away advertising. Build a small website for yourself. Hopefully that is helping you guys. Can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry, I keep getting notices that I'm muted. Advice for renters. Oh, thank you. You guys can hear me. Thank you. So many questions. I told you guys I'm not going to leave unless I answer all your questions. I don't want to go anywhere. I see that you're saying we're here from Ottawa. This works exactly in Ottawa. My family is just outside of Ottawa to the east and to the south. And we have properties all around that area. This works exactly for Ottawa. If I missed your call, if I missed your question, please come back to it. Please write it again and I'm going to get to it. This is for Jadine. Oh, you're saying, do you have connects to TO Realtors? My goodness, I'm not doing a very good job, right? My name is David and I am a realtor. I'm a broker for Ruff Team Realty. I own Ruff Team Realty. It's in Toronto. We're on Bay Street. We work everywhere in the greater Toronto region. from Oshawa out to Hamilton, up to Barrie predominantly, but we even go out to London, down the Golden Horseshoe to Niagara Falls. So if you're looking for a realtor, please reach out to us at roughteamrealty.com, or you can write to us, email at contact@roughteamrealty. You can go there. If you want to speak with me personally, go to david@roughteamrealty.com, and you'll be emailing me directly if you have some questions for me. Adi Kupa, you said, is it a good idea to put in a corporate the investment properties? If yes, how many properties? Okay, that is now talking a lot more money mechanics. So guys, what they're talking about, instead of having houses in your personal name, should you open up a corporation and put the corporation on the title for all of those properties? Depends where you are in your life. Depends. Remember, you guys, I can't talk to you about financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm a real estate broker, and I can help you with real estate and help you with that. But what I can tell you is that for myself, yes, properties are in a corporation. I would put them there, but that really depends on your personal situation. I have to know what other streams of income that you have coming in. Where else? What money do you need coming from the cash that's getting kicked off the properties? Do you need that appreciation money? I mean, there's a lot that we can talk about, but you really have to sit down and have a one-on-one consultation. And how you get your dream team built is you need a really good realtor, a good mortgage agent, a good accountant, and a good business lawyer. And those four guys are going to be your dream team, your Avengers, okay? Those are the guys that are going to help you set up for success. But if you didn't need all the money, you know, maybe you should be putting it into a corporation. Have I ever sold a property? Sorry, I have to go like this to read it. Did I ever sell a property that took that profit and put it into Forex and get a high return? That's highly risky. I could never suggest to do that. That's very, very risky. I'm glad that you hear me, but I'm sorry that it's lagging. I'm sorry, you guys, about all of this. I hope that I'm getting to it. I have not tried Forex. I know people who have lost a lot of money. When starting a business, is it best to rent all the equipment if you don't have all the bill? Yes, I would be renting the equipment. I wouldn't be buying the equipment if you're starting a business, because you don't want to tie up your capital or your possible credit. I would be using your credit to buy rental properties and then use the rent to rent the machines. Remember what I was saying, you got to think like the billionaires and millionaires. I'm not saying do my strategy over other people's strategies. I'm telling you, go look at what all the millionaires and billionaires are doing and copy them. I mean, that's what I do. It's not that I'm some genius, you know, sent down from heaven. I just read a lot of books. I'm a nerd, man. This is what I do. This is what I focus on. And so I'm here to help my clients do the same thing. Just copy them. Copy. You're talking about Caledonia. I see a question there. Yes, we've done properties up in Caledonia as well. Oh boy, you guys have a lot of really good questions. Thank you. Who's this calling me Jason Kenny? I'm sorry, there's so many questions coming in, I can't get to them all. But is it a better time to buy a house? First-time home buyer here. Is there a better time to buy a house? No, actually there's not. You know what the best time, especially, we were talking about that we're no longer in a capitalist society. Now we're in a central planning society. So when should you be buying a house? As fast as possible. The fastest possible is unequivocally the answer right now, because we are in massive money printing and devaluing of the currency. But where to buy? That's an opinion-based thing. So now you have to figure out, with a good realtor, where is the best properties that are going to make you the most money in an up-and-coming area. You can rent for top dollar, good cash flow, good appreciation. You need all of that. So Alman, if you're in the Greater Toronto area, you could reach out to us absolutely free, no obligation at any time. You can reach out to us at roughteamrealty.com. We'll be happy to get back to you. Tell me my opinion versus Innisfil versus Oshawa. I would go Oshawa, Ada. This is Ada. Is this Ada I-41? I would be picking Oshawa, so that's a part of Toronto, you guys. Oshawa is in the top 5 areas right now in Ontario to buy because it is having the largest price appreciation and the largest influx of high-income earners. So yes, I would be picking Oshawa over Innisfil right now, for sure. Unequivocally. Thank you for this very good questions. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully I'm trying to get to them all. You can't sell a dry cleaning franchise. How to negotiate it to the franchisee? Tough, man. I don't know. I've negotiated, I don't even know how many houses and properties in my life, but I have never had to renegotiate it back with the franchisee. I really can't. If you're out of business and you're not working right now, I would be thinking of trying to sell it for the most money you can, put it on the open market, see if you could sell it to someone else, get a number that the franchisee would be paying you for it as well. Try to cut your losses, get out of a losing proposition and get into a property that has a winning proposition. I think I already mentioned about Caledonia. Adi Koopa, you're saying that you're looking for a detached in the south of Etobicoke. Your budget is 1.1. Can I find something decent? You'll be able to find a house, but you're going to have some work done on it. Because as you know, the property value is at 1.1 million. That's what they were worth back in 2016, 2017, right? So it really depends on the area, what part of South Etobicoke you're talking about. But Addy, if you're looking in that area, you should be giving us a call, roughteamrealty.com, or contact@roughteamrealty. Email us there and we'll get back to you. I mean, what we offer is completely free, no obligation. We can have a really good conversation, but you know what? Why people work with us, Addy, and I'm talking just to him and the people who are in Toronto, is that we have off-market properties. We have right now 960 properties that are not listed online. They're not on the MLS, not on realtor.ca. We keep them private for our clients only. So if you're looking for properties and you're looking for the best deals that are out there, you should be calling the people that have the bank foreclosures and the distressed sales and company-owned properties and things like that. And that's what we have. So you should be calling people like us if you're in Toronto, and we can give you a hand at roughteamrealty.com. But if you're in another area, try to find people who have those at your disposal, because that's where you're going to be making really good money. Thank you guys for all of your really fine questions. I hope that I'm offering some value to you guys. Andrew, you're asking how can the currency go down? And remember, the currency goes down as people print money because the value, the purchasing power goes down. So if we had $1 trillion of paper and $1 can buy you milk, if they the next day create $2 trillion of paper, now each thing of milk would what? It would also double in price. Now it would be 2. So as they print money like crazy, inflation will also take effect. So the inflation can either really hurt you if you're a saver, but it will make you huge amounts of money if you have some debt. Who is the most in debt people around? Forget people. Who is the most in debt? Companies. Forget companies. What about countries? Countries have more debt than anybody. And if the countries are able to devalue the currency to help them pay off the national debt, why can't you and I jump on the exact same bandwagon and make money with this too? That's what the governments are doing. They're printing away their debt. So why can't we do the same thing? Guess what? We can. Wonderful. But you just have to know about how it works, right? And it's really tough to understand how it works. So I would start doing a lot of research on it, read a lot of books. And then you're going to understand this. But I'm going to do an extended version on this. And hopefully it's going to help you out. My feed kind of jams, and then all of a sudden I get blasted with 1 million of them. So I'm sorry. This is for Nikki Prada. If I missed you, please put it back, and I'm going to come. I'll get to it. Is it a good time to downsize your house from Mississauga to Elora? Yes. That's a great time, Nikki. The highest earning in the closer to Toronto was the Mississauga, North York, Scarborough area. Top dollar. And you haven't realized the price gains that are going to happen on the other properties in Elora. So if I was in your spot, you're able to sell your Mississauga property for top dollar. At the same time, you would now be able to buy your Elora home at a cheaper price and be able to buy another investment property. That's what I would be doing. Selling your Mississauga property and maybe buying 2, maybe 3 properties. That is a perfect move, Nikki. Great idea. Very, very good idea. Mick, you're saying you're Irish. Are you from Ireland? Very cool. My grandma was from Ireland. So I like that. I like that. You said you got a few quid. Yeah, you could buy a house. Man, in Ireland, it's the exact same system. The same system as here. So I would be getting on it. Are you in the north or the south? Just curious. But either way, it's going to help you either way. Adi Koopa, does rent-to-own program work in Toronto as an investment program? It does, but rent-to-own is a very, very specific thing. I need to read the contract from beginning to end. You have to really get into the fine print because it differs so much. When you're going to buy a house, it's very standard. It's a lot of government paperwork. Rent-to-own is you can create it on the fly however you want. If I had my choice, you would not want a rent-to-own program at all. I would be only trying to buy. But if you are unable to purchase a property, and you know, I was saying you can buy a property for $20,000 down. If you cannot afford the $20,000 down, then I would be getting a second job. Hustle on the side, work evenings, weekends, get that 20 grand, buy a property with it. That's how you're going to have the government paying off your mortgages for you. If you don't want to do that, and the last resort is a rent-to-own. I mean, a rent-to-own is better than nothing. Is better than just renting. So it really depends, but I'd like to talk to you more about it. This is for Ballybrown, Bowmanville, or Caledonia. Bowmanville has been doing better as far as absorption rates and as far as high income jobs, high income earners in their cities. If you're looking between those two. Maple Roti. Are renters been able to pay their rent? Should an investor be concerned? It's always a big concern, right? About if the renters can pay their rent. Always a huge concern. So how do you make sure they're always paying your rent? Because right now the landlord and tenant boards in most states in the US, in most provinces of Canada, are banning evictions, even if they don't pay. They may not pay for a year. So it all comes down to who, and in our case, it'd be us. So when you buy an investment property with us, we actually go and dig into the actual tenants. So you want to make sure that they actually are employed. Find out that they're not giving you their mom's name or something where you're calling them to confirm employment. Find out their employment. Make sure they're actually making that money. Make sure they're working in an area that hasn't gone down because of COVID. I want to see paychecks or bank statements for the past year to prove that that income is coming in. Prove to me your credit scores. Talk to their ex-landlords. Make sure that you're getting a really good tenant, because once you've invited them into your home, it's almost impossible to get them out. So this all comes down to the vetting process. So a lot of people want to go at it on their own, which is great. You can save a couple $100 or whatever it is instead of hiring a realtor to do it. But in my personal view, I would be getting a realtor to do it and really dig into them. If you know what you're doing, do it on your own, but really vet them. Make sure that you're going to be okay. You need to protect your downside. Is it a good idea to put 7 properties in a corporation? Again, this is for Sam. I am not a corporate or business lawyer. I cannot give you counsel on this. I can just talk to you about myself and what I do. I am a real estate broker, I have real estate agents that work for me. I'm downtown on Bay Street in Toronto, and we work in the Golden Horseshoe and up north, London, up to Barrie. That's where I specialize. But I can tell you, my corporations and holdings companies, yes, that's where I would put my properties. But again, there's so much individuality here. I need to know your income streams and your corporate setups and your whole family structure and your spending habits in order to look at it. I mean, I had to crunch all those numbers before I had to approach my lawyer and figure it out. And a lawyer is always very cautious about what he's telling you, right? Because he's got to be careful. You kind of have to figure it out beforehand and know what to be asking him. Get a good lawyer. Barrie and Innisfil, good to buy? Not right now, Sam. I wouldn't be buying there right now. There's better places to buy because typically speaking, wherever the city is, for historically speaking, it would be expensive and it would start getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper the more you move out. The one exception to that rule is that 400 channel that goes up from Toronto all the way up to that other city called Barrie. It's inexplicably expensive. So we used to be investing in Barrie and Innisfil 2014, 15, 16, 17, and around 2017, there were cities that were way better to buy in, meaning like Oshawa, London, Guelph, like places like that, St. Thomas, and the suburbs, Hamilton. We started investing heavily over there. So, you know, when you're going to be thinking that way, right, I wouldn't be looking in Innisfil and Barrie, just because, for the simple reason, they don't make as much money as somewhere else. That's it. Put your money where you're going to make the most money. I mean, it sounds simple, right? But it isn't usually. How can someone with little net worth get into owning rental property? This is for Roop Dupes. You need $20,000 down. Do you have $20,000 down? If you don't have $20,000, if you do, go buy a rental property and you can get one in Toronto for that. If you don't, get a side job. Start working on the weekends. Open a side business. One of the guys on here was talking about pressure washing business. That's what you got to get into. That's where and then you make your 20 grand and get it going. Because if the government is paying off your mortgages for you by devaluing the currency, you should be getting into it, right? So this idea of, oh, I'm going to wait 4 or 5 years to get into it, you're just losing money every year you do that. This is for GR 1 million. You have $700,000 cash. You want to buy a business for $400,000. Should I do vendor take back for half? Okay, so lots to get into on that, I guess, right? Sitting on $700,000 cash is the devil. I never sit in cash. I race to spend my money, because sitting in cash, you're losing money. So that principle makes sense. And most people don't ever argue with that, any economist, but where to put the money, that's the opinion part, right? You're wanting to buy a business for $400,000. So I like your division of where you're putting a portion of it, not all in. Really depends what kind of business. I wouldn't be buying a business that isn't COVID proof. And should you do vendor take back for half? I would all day. If a vendor is willing to take back half my mortgage, hell yeah, then they didn't touch my credit that I have on the other side. So I basically got more credit. And when I get more credit, I go buy another property with it. So I would be doing it if I could. Yes, absolutely. I love vendor take back mortgages. For all you who don't know what that means like, say that I was going to go buy a house, just to make it simple, and it was $1 million. And I told the guy, listen, my name is David. I work here. This is my business. Please check into me. I'm wondering if you, current owner, will give me the mortgage. We're very used to, like, the banks, right, giving us a mortgage, but people can give you a mortgage. So the seller might be so motivated to sell that he will give you the mortgage. So your monthly mortgage payments aren't going to the bank, they're going to that guy. So I think that's great. Where do you buy a home in the Greater Toronto Area for $750,000? There's a lot of places. I mean, right downtown, you can buy really good condos. You can buy townhouses up in Brampton. If you want to have detached properties, you're going to probably have to move out farther into Oshawa, over into Hamilton for $750,000. Thank you for all these questions, you guys, but I can't even get to them fast enough. I'm really trying to not leave anybody hanging here. Thank you. I hope that this is helping you guys. Tampa Bay or New Orleans? Actually, I don't know any of those markets. Really apologize. I used to be in Tampa Bay a lot with my parents, and we had invested there until 2011 or so, but I haven't gone back since. So where I'm looking now is in Arkansas and in Louisiana and Texas. So I can't really comment between those two. I'm really sorry. You're from Newark in a forbearance program. What do you do if unemployment? I would be using all of this time that you have right now to focus on yourself. It's the best money that you're ever going to spend. Start buying books on financial literacy, financial freedom. Seriously. I made a video on it this week of the 4 books that you should be starting off to read. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Real Estate Investor, Money Master the Game. Invest in yourself, okay? Start learning that. Find and start honing your skills to get another job that's COVID proof if you're unemployed. So what does that mean? Maybe you're going to have to go on, take some Google courses online, some free YouTube courses online. Try to become a social media manager, something. Get money coming in. The faster you can get that money coming in, the better. If you open up that small business, all the money's going to stay with you. Tax write-offs, money given to you from the government. Take it all and then invest it. Have some good debt. I'm not talking about debt for food, fancy clothes, cars. That's bad debt. I'm talking about debt on your assets that you're purchasing that the government's going to be paying off as they print money. Listen, this is for bad sucking. I had no food to eat. I hardly had anything to eat. I was living in a basement, not even a one bedroom. It must have been 300 square feet. I had a car that didn't run. I had to push start that car every morning. I couldn't even start where I had it as a manual. I had to be downhill or at a stop sign to be able to push it into traffic to get it going. Like, I was there. I was where you are. And you can do this. Just invest in yourself. Buddy, seriously, I'm pulling for you. You can pull yourself out of it. I'm living proof that you can. What is the best way to upsize? Sorry, guys. What is the best way to upsize a downtown condo? Do you need to sell and then rent it to find a place to buy? So I guess that's the question, right? Do you want to buy it or sell it? So that really depends on your personal situation. This is where you need a really good realtor to come in and help you. This is as simple as it comes, guys. You only have so much cash. You only have so much credit. All of it should be used to be buying cash producing assets when you're starting off. You should only be living in a place that you would buy as an investment property. That's it. I would only live in a place that is a good return if I had to rent it out. Once you pass your 10 properties, once you pass 10 houses, remember I say the race to 10? Once you pass that, then you could start living fun. But you only have so much cash and you only have so much credit. Use all of it to buy good assets. So if you're in one condo and you want to buy another one, we actually have to go through it. Remember what I always say? Buy in audited buildings where a lawyer, good realtor has gone through those units and made sure that it's a really good investment, making you a lot of money. If it's not, we should be selling that unit and buying you 2 other condos. If it is a good unit, then you absolutely keep it, rent it out, and go buy another one, even if you're living in it. You should only be putting your money where you make the most money. Does that make sense? Rich Dad Poor Dad tells you that your house is not an asset. Your house is a liability. It's costing you money every month. So until you get to 10 doors, you have to be thinking that way. All of your money and all of your credit should be used to building your portfolio. All of it. This is to Toronto Life 01. Listen, I work downtown Toronto. I'm a broker, right? I'm in charge of Ruff Team Realty. So reach out to us at ruffteamrealty.com, or you can write us at contact@ruffteamrealty. Email us there and we're going to look into that. Again, what we do is 100% free. No obligation to buy. So if you are looking at doing that, why don't you give us a call? 100% free. And we'll go through the buildings for you and figure it out and be able to tell you if it is a good deal or not and what you should be doing. We'll try and aim you in the right direction. Opinion on Windsor. This is for Rick 9819. It's good. Properties have gone up a lot there, not quite as much as London, but Windsor has been doing really, really good as you know, people are now working from home. So do you realize that before COVID, only 5% of people worked from home? Guess what the number is now? 54%. 54% of people are working from home, and the majority of them are not going back after COVID. The companies have learned that they can make just as much money by having everyone stay at home. They're going to be closing all of these corporations. Salesforce, Microsoft, Facebook, I mean, they've already started doing it. They said they're not coming back. So Windsor has been doing really, really good because of that. What can you write off as a rental home owner? You can write off anything that touches it. Any paint, any maintenance, any roof repairs, your vehicle that you're using to drive there, a percentage of your vehicle. of your gas, a percentage of your cell phone, your internet, your phone. You're going to have a home office to deal with all of these properties that you have, right? So then you get to write off part of your home insurance, part of your heating, part of your internet bills, part of everything, right? Your cell phone bills, a portion of all of it is a write-off. And then you get the big mama, depreciation, baby. How do you think Trump doesn't pay any taxes? Remember what I keep saying, think like a millionaire, think like a billionaire. How do these guys pay no taxes? Because they have so many write-offs and then they hammer it with depreciation and you are down to squat. Because you can kick all of those taxes into the future. Remember what the millionaires and billionaires do? You want to pay as little as possible for as long as possible. So you'll never see these millionaires or billionaires having a 10-year, 15-year mortgage. They want a 30, a 40-year mortgage, and you kick it down the road and deal with it later. So you can have a lot of write-offs, Nick, tons. And I mean, I'm just talking to you a little bit about myself. Remember, I'm not an accountant, so I can't counsel you on what to do. So I think I already answered that question. Condos in Bowmanville in 2025 for 420,000. No, okay. So you're anyone who says to me this is for Ball and Brown, you're saying condos in 2025. That means you're buying pre-construction. I have not seen one piece of pre-construction in Canada that is investable in 7 years. Now, don't get me wrong. We sell pre-construction all the time. All the time. And guess what? They pay me double the commission. Double the commission. So I should be telling you, buy pre-construction, right? I'm going to make a lot more money. But I don't care about that. I care that you guys are going to be okay. Remember, I don't care about the area. I care about the deal. Can this deal make you a lot more money than that deal? That's all that we care about. And so on paper, the builders changed how they priced units about 7 years ago. So we buy pre-construction mostly for people who are coming out of the country, people that want to live all together. Some people have a thing that they want to be the only person ever to have lived in that unit, etc., etc. So we buy pre-construction for them. Sometimes it's people who are retiring. They don't really care about money. They already have their 10 rental properties. I'm buying something specially made for myself. That's cool. Absolutely. But if you're talking about buying a pre-construction unit for investment, I'd be very worried. And you should be bringing it to somebody like myself or somebody who is very knowledgeable in the market to break it down on if you're going to make more money buying that or buying a resale property that has no HST on it and you're buying it at a huge discount. So be very careful about buying pre-construction right now. Absolutely. Houses in the UK are very expensive. Absolutely. This is for Amber. They are very expensive. They've come down a lot, right? But they're still very expensive. But that's not really the question, right? The question is it expensive and am I going to be losing value, right? But the idea is they're going to lose value if we were in a capitalist society. But now that we're in a central bank society, central planning society, where the government's going to be printing a lot more money in the future to keep going, the prices are going to continue to go up. And so that's why you really need to be looking into this into the UK as well. How can someone with negative net worth get into investment property? So I don't know. I mean, you need some money, right? So you can buy a property for $20,000 down. In Toronto, you can buy a property in other places in Canada and the United States for way cheaper. So what happens if you get into a property that is only going to cost you $100,000, $150,000? You need $7,000 down. So if you're in negative interest, you have some other problems, right? That's where I say get a weekend job, an evening job, honing your skills, opening up a small social media management company, something where you can have the benefits of a tax write-off and get other cash flow coming in. You need that. You need that to get into the positive, to get your $7,000 to get your first property. Because what happens is when you buy a property, guess what happens? That property has a baby. And then another baby, and another baby, and they keep growing. And that's the race to 10 doors. That's what you need. A race to 10. This is to Wang Sung. I don't know what KW, you have a KW rental property, keep or sell. So I don't know what KW is, but if you have a rental property right now, what would I say, guys? For any of you who follow me all the time, that comes down to the deal, baby. So show me the absorption rate for an area. Show me what your cash on cash return is. Show me what kind of jobs are coming into the area and how many houses are still on the market. Show me what appreciation is, because all I'm looking for is the best deal. There's not a magic pill to say all rentals should be kept. That's not an easy, you can't say that. You can't say all detaches are good purchases. It comes down to the individual deal. And that's why you need a really good realtor who does this all the time. You can't just make sweeping statements, unfortunately. It's very, very hard. You have to come down to the deal. You want to buy your dad's 100-acre farm with a house and a shed for 1.8 million. Is it worth it? Okay, I'm repeating myself, right? It comes down to the deal, you guys. If that is a good deal, then yes, it depends on the area, right? Is it a growing area? Is there a lot of people moving into that area? Do I have an opportunity later to subdivide it? Is it worth it, 1.8 right now? I mean, if it's in a growing area, it's great, right? And land, my goodness, land is not changing. So I would be more, if you're closer to an area that is rural, not rural, near a city, could you be changing that into building houses on it, for example? That would be a huge, huge deal, right? So I would like that. Land is great. It's the one thing that they're not making any more of. People in my portfolio are buying over in St. Thomas right now like crazy. And if you paid attention this week, Bill Gates just became the largest farmland owner in United States. I think he has 250,000 acres. Insane. So he plans to change the way they farm. So farming land is a great thing, but it really depends where. So I would have to look at the individual deal. Again, if you're in the Toronto area, Golden Horseshoe, reach out to me at roughteamrealty.com or email me at contact@roughteamrealty. So I wish that I could make it all of this. Will the dollar collapse? This is for Amber. So I don't know if you're talking about the Canadian dollar, the US dollar, what kind of dollar, Australian dollar, what you're talking about. But will they collapse? What does that mean? What does it mean? The government is printing a lot of money by the tune of trillions of dollars of money they're printing. So what happens is devaluing of currency. Your money is worth less. So the price on your home might go from $1 million to $2 million. Did you make money? Not necessarily, because the cost of everything else may have doubled as well. So the collapse means a loss in purchasing power. If you are a T4 in Canada worker, meaning you just work 40 hours a week, punch in, punch out, or if you're a W-2 worker in the United States, yes, the dollar is collapsing for you. If you're sitting on $700,000 in cash, like one of our other people who are watching us, then is the dollar collapsing? Yes. If you're sitting in properties with debt attached to it and the government is paying off your mortgage for you, the dollar isn't collapsing, baby. It's on fire. I'm making money with my debt. So big, big difference, right? So if you're in the Greater Toronto area, you know, you can always give me a call. I'd be happy. All of our services are completely free. They don't cost you anything. It's free to interview us. It's free to look for investment properties with us. We don't charge you. So give us a call. The very, very good questions. You need to sit down with a couple of mortgage brokers. Tell them that you have a goal and get to work. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you guys, if you need a good mortgage broker, I have 3 mortgage brokers that work with me. We have over 36 different lenders, and that's one application. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. No obligation to use them. I mean, I don't know why more people don't use them. I absolutely agree. Why am I wearing a suit for my Instagram Live? Well, James, I'm what they call a professional. I wear a suit 7 days a week. I operate a very big team here in Toronto, in the Greater Toronto area, and we always strive to be professional. Every one of my guys, they have to exude professionalism, dress professionally, speak professionally, train professionally. There is a plague, an epidemic of the number of agents who have their licenses who barely practice in it. If we look at last year, 70,000 agents in Toronto, 45,000 never even sold a house, not even one, buy, sell, or lease, and another 30,000 of them only did one. So there's a big difference in agents, right? And we strive to be the best, professional in everything we do. So yes, you'll always see me on my lives in a suit and tie, always. I believe that my customers deserve it. But that's just personal opinion, right? To all you who want to wear jeans, cool on you, man. I like jeans on my days off too, though. Woo! I never thought I would do this, guys. I got to the end. Can't believe it. Got to the end, you guys. So remember, this is all going to be recorded. I'm going to be putting it up on my live, especially the beginning part. Go back and watch that. It is going to be one of the most important things you have ever learned. I promise you. So please go that. I see a comment that you're from Florida. That is absolutely fantastic. It works in Florida as well. This is great. You're saying thank you for sharing my knowledge. I really appreciate you guys and following me. I've had an incredible run in the last 2 months. I'm blown away by the demand for this type of information. This is for, there's only one Blanche. You got here late. Blanche, I'm going to be recording this. This is all recorded and we're going to be putting it up on my YouTube channel, Ruff Team Realty. Please go there and watch it. Please follow us and please tell your friends about us, you know, because I want people to get out of the way of this truck that's coming to destroy them. So I want more and more people to know about this. You know, I'm not selling any books. I'm not selling any courses, you guys. I just want you guys to be okay. He says that you're still living with your parents, with your partner and 2 kids. What do I suggest? Well, it depends how much cash you have. If you have $20,000 and you're living in Toronto, buy your first rental property. If you are outside of Toronto and you can go buy your own house for $20,000, you know, I would be buying a house out there. But if you don't mind living with your parents, save as much cash as you can and use all of your credit and all of your equity, the cash that you have, to buy income producing properties. That's it. I mean, it sounds simple, right? Take all the cash that you have, all the credit you have, and use it all toward buying good, appreciating assets where the government's helping you pay it off. After you hit 10 homes, relax. But you know, if you're going crazy living at home with your parents and you have to get out, I mean, you have to get out. I get that. So this is for Sean. You say you live in Canada. This is absolutely for Canada. I live in Toronto. Curious where you're from. But, you know, I work everywhere in the Golden Horseshoe, Niagara Falls, over to Oshawa, up to Barrie, kind of thing in the Toronto area. Nikki, you're saying thank you for the valuable information. Thank you, guys. You know, it took me almost all the day today to put forward that plan that I showed you guys. So it puts a lot of work, a lot of effort into doing this. So I hope you guys appreciate it. Please follow me. If you know anybody who's interested in real estate, buying or purchasing any properties in the Greater Toronto area, I sincerely would appreciate your referrals. We're always looking for clients. If you are just starting off in real estate, we are always hiring. I would love to hear from you. If you guys are out there looking for a job or you have a new career on the horizon, please contact us at ruffteamrealty.com or contact at Ruff Team Realty and reach out to us if you want a job. If you're looking for a home, happy to help. If you don't live in the Greater Toronto area and you live in other places of Canada, I might have contacts for you. You can always reach out to me. But all of this information is good for you. Even if you live in Australia, Europe, United States, it doesn't really matter. It's still good for you. This is to Fatwa. You're currently renting and want to own a property. Your rent is $32.50 a month. I don't know where you are. $32.50 a month is a lot of money. So there's a lot of deals out there for rentals right now. So that's where I would be trying to downsize the type of rental you have and use all your credit and all the money you have to buying your first property for investment. I would only be buying my own property if it was an investment from an outside perspective. So put your money where you make the most money. Does that sound simple? That's what I would do. I would be getting into the cheapest rent you can and using all your cash and credit into buying a good investment property that's going to make you money and have the government paying off your mortgage for you. What is my prediction for the 2021 market? Well, I mean, that's kind of what I've been talking about for the past 2 hours. I'm going to upload this and you guys can go and take a look at the beginning part. It's going to be going up and up and up if the government keeps on printing money. It's going to be skyrocketing, you guys. So you're in the beaches area. Woo! Yeah, that's expensive. So I would be trying to get into a much cheaper rent. This is for Fatwa, $32.50 a month. That is very high rent. I'd be trying to get into a cheaper rental right now. And there are better places to be buying an investment than in beaches. But again, I need to see the deals. If you want to find deals, you know, you got to call someone like me. I have 960 properties right now. The last I checked, that was not on the market. It's not on realtor.ca, Zillow, Zillow, nothing like that. So we reserve those for our clients. So in someone like your case, you need to be calling like someone like me to help you get into a lower cost of living and using your credit and your income into buying properties that are going to generate money for you and be paying your rent for you, as the government is paying down your mortgage by printing off so much money. So that sounds like a lot of money. I think you've got to find a good realtor to work with. And you know, if you want, more than welcome to reach out to me, roughteamrealty.com or contact@roughteamrealty. Do I have any properties in the beaches area? Yes, we have properties all over the Greater Toronto area, but especially in the downtown area. Yeah, so give us a call or email us, at contact@roughteamrealty. Got clients. I do credit restoration since 1998. That's great. Man, credit is so important. That's why I was talking earlier to these guys that are 16, 17 years old. Build your credit. Pay off everything at the end of every month. Never be over leveraged. Make sure that you're using your credit to get more credit. You got to do that well. So good for you, man. This is the only one, Blanche. You got to contact someone like her to fix your credit if it's broken. So Fatwa, you said you live in the beaches. Yeah, give us a call. Drew Much, you're saying this is a sales pitch, not a TikTok live. Absolutely wrong. I've been on here for 3 hours and I'm only talking to people who are in Toronto. So the majority of our followers are in Europe and United States. I think we're at like 60%. So it's majority for everybody not to get there. So if you actually think it's a sales pitch, you should go back and listen to the other 2 hours. We're going to be uploading it the whole live onto the YouTube channel. But thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. And I hope that you go back and rewatch it because you're going to pick up a lot of really cool information that's going to make you a lot of money. A lot. I don't sell any books, any courses at all. And most of our services are for investors. And we're not paid by any investors. I mean, when you come to me to buy a property, it's the seller that pays for everything for us. You don't pay us a penny. So nothing I can get for less than around 700,000. Really depends where you are, Sean. I mean, it really depends. If you're in the Greater Toronto area, we just did a property up in Brampton for 630. We just did a property out in Hamilton for 700. So you can get properties around here, yes. And there's condos downtown for $399. So you can get into some really good stuff. On average, how long does it take to get to 10 homes? Lori, you're my type of person. I love that thought process. That's what you need to be thinking about. And now remember, 10 homes doesn't necessarily mean 10 different properties. If you have a duplex, that's 2 doors. If you have a fourplex, that's 4 doors. Race to 10 doors, not necessarily 10 properties, but it really depends how much money you make and how much equity you have and how good your credit is. And how does that all work together? You need a really good mortgage broker and a really good realtor. Those 2 guys with you guys will work together and will figure it out the best way for you to move forward. And you know, when you go to a bank, you're not only dealing with one bank. A mortgage broker has 36 different banks. And so all those 36 different banks have different qualifications, different lending criteria, payback schedules, and you need to find something that works really well with your schedule. But to answer your question, the fastest I've seen somebody go to 10 properties is about 8 months. But I've seen other people have to take 3-4 years to do it. So it really depends on the deal, finding a good property, finding properties like we have, off-market properties, distressed sales, bankruptcies, stuff like that. Like we have over 900, right? So if you can find the good deals, that could slow you down if you can't find good deals. And then it could slow you down on the financing. And then once you get the financing, then you need your realtor to also help you vet the people to make sure you have cash flow coming in. Hopefully that helps. Fatwa, you're just saying if you should move in back with your parents. Really, it's an individual situation. Like I've been talking to these other guys, you really need to have somebody come in and look at your entire situation one at a time. What is my prediction for the 2021 market? Like I said before, it's going to be rocketing. That's what we've been talking about for the last 2 hours, is it's going to be going like crazy. The good thing is, for any of you guys who have questions on the presentation that I had, I'm going to be uploading this entire thing to our YouTube channel, Ruff Team Realty. So go there. What if interest rates go up again? Will buying a property still make sense? Okay, that's a great question. So that's for people who believe that we're in a capitalist society and interest rates are going to go up. But if interest rates go up and the governments have this much debt, the governments would instantly default because they cannot even pay the interest on their debt. If you default on your payment, remember, it means you can't borrow anymore. Are you following me? So if the interest rates go up, the governments go under. They can't pay the minimum debts on their loan. They can't even pay the interest on their loan. Why did the governments in the States and Canada pass the laws to be able to go into negative interest rates? Why does all the new mortgage papers now say that your lowest mortgage rate will be 0.0? Why is all of Europe and Japan and everyone in negative interest rates already? So I'm not very afraid of the interest rates going up in the short term. I'm just not. I can't see any way that the governments would be able to do that. Master Finance, you're asking how do the governments pay your mortgage? So that's a very long presentation that we did at the very beginning. I'm going to be uploading this entire thing to YouTube. I suggest that you go watch it. And they do it by use of money mechanics, devaluing of their currency, what they call helicopter money, and this massive money printing that is going on right now. So Lori, you're saying how long does it take to get to your 10 houses? Yep, you could do it in as little as 8 months. That's the fastest I've seen it. Tricks for raising your credit score. So if your credit is in the pooper, like I mean really, really bad, go get a prepaid credit card. You load it with cash and start using it. Load it with cash, so it's a debit card essentially, not a credit card. And do that. You need to start being more trustworthy, right? And you got to get as much credit as you can and prove to them that you're paying it back. There's also credit repair services that you're going to have to contact, and they're going to start helping you with your credit and removing those bad things on it. Can you buy a house with no money down? People do it all the time. But what does that mean? If you're going to go buy an investment property, I have to put 80% down. I mean 20% down. 80% of it is a loan. But they didn't say where I have to get that 20%. I can get that 20% from my mom, my dad, a friend. I can also go to a third-party lender and have that guy say, hey guys, I found a house for $1 million that I can buy right now for $900. I'm going to have instant equity in it. I need you to lend me some money. The guy will lend you the money if he sees the deal is good, and then you pay him back as soon as that you can refinance the property after you put in some sweat equity. People do it all the time, buy a house with no money down. It's very creative financing. You're not going to get it through like your Bank of America or your Bank of Montreal in Canada. You know, you're not going to get that. So Fawa, you're saying thank you. Appreciate it. I wish the best for you. You can always reach out to us at ruffteamrealty.com and we'll get back to you. Did I vote to make America great again? I'm in Canada, man. I'm not in the United States of America. This is Canada, where I am. What do I think of Friday Harbor Condo? Friday? What's the address of that unit? I don't know the names usually. I know the addresses. So sorry, I'm not really sure. You're asking me what is my YouTube channel? It's Ruff Team Realty. Ruff Team Realty. I just started it up. As most of you know, I just started onto the social media thing after being bugged for years. And we've had just under 1.7 million views, I think it is now, across our channels in 2 months. So it's incredible. I'm really excited. Obviously, people need to know this information. Just started a YouTube channel. There's not much on there, but there's going to be a lot more coming. We just had to hire a full-time editor, a full-time social media manager, and there's another one coming. I can't keep up with the amount of demands that are coming in, not demands, but requests, let's say. I'm really thankful for all your requests to Ruff Team Realty. So thank you very much, you guys. We really appreciate it. If you have anybody who is looking for any properties in the Greater Toronto region, we would be happy to apply for that position and would be excited to serve you in any way that we can. So please contact us at contact@ruffteamrealty.com. Will prices slow down in the next year in 2022? Well, the question, Addie, we keep talking about it for the past couple hours, is the sticker price on the home may be different than your purchasing power. There's two different things. But I don't expect them to be going down. No, as the government is printing more money, if you're leveraged properly and have your assets in the right locations, you're going to be okay. How do you save money when you feel you have $0 after paying all your bills? So you reduce your costs as much as you can. You have to increase how much money you're making. Get a job on the evenings and weekends. Study, study, study. Improve your skills. Open a small business, a side hustle, and financial literacy. Start reading books on the thing. If you want to know, I made a movie earlier in the week, TikTok, just on the 4 books that you should be reading. Nick Guy, is it better to buy 2 or 3 bedroom house for $300,000 in a small market or $850,000 in Brampton? I would be buying the $300,000 units in a smaller market. Really depends which one though. Make sure you're checking absorption rates, sales to asking ratios, if our high income earners moving in, our jobs moving in. You know, you have to do your due diligence. But yes, I would be, if you're looking at the beginning, I would be buying a diverse portfolio, having several low price properties in a smaller market, and then buying a smaller condo in a big market like Toronto, Vancouver, something like that. Good questions though. I think that I'm at the end of all the questions. So do you guys have any questions more before I go? I mean, this was a big, heavy topic. And this is the most important thing for you. Assets. You need assets with debt. So as your house will inflate with price, your mortgages do not inflate. And the divergence between the two is all your money. That's how the governments are going to be paying off your debts. By inflating the asset prices, but not inflating the debts. If you're a saver or a fixed income earner, you're going to get hurt. If you're an asset owner, you're going to preserve your wealth. If you have assets with debt, you will become financially free. That's just how it goes. Those are the rules of economics. What we just talked about is indisputable. What we're going to be talking about, where to put it, now that's opinion based. What is the best private lender? I mean, what does best mean, first of all? I don't know. And that's a question that we would have to talk to a mortgage broker. I have 3 mortgage brokers that work for me. If you ever want to reach out to me, ruffteamrealty.com or contact@ruffteamrealty. So you guys, I really appreciate the love, the support. Please tell your friends about us. Please subscribe to our channels. Please go to my YouTube channel and you can watch this and subscribe to me there. I'm going to be starting to load a lot more content as people keep making requests. If there's something that you're very interested in, please email me, contact@ruffteamrealty. And if there's anyone that you know that is looking for real estate, please, I'm rooting for you.